بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Math grade 7. We are in model 6, lesson 1. Write and solve one-step equations. Write and solve one-step equations. In this lesson, we want to write one-step equations involving integers and rational numbers and use inverse operations to solve the equations. At the first step, we have properties of equality. Properties of equality. You can use the properties of equality to solve equations. Algebraically. The first one, addition property of equality. Two sides of an equation remain equal when you add the same number to each side. For example, suppose we have this equation f a equal b. You can add the same number to the two sides. We can add here c plus c, and we can add here plus c. As you see, we have the correct equation if you add the same number to the two sides. For example, suppose you have 5 equal 5. If you add 2 to the first side and you add the same number to the second side, 2 plus 5 will be 7 and 5 plus 2 will be 7. 7 equals 7. So we have the correct equation, no change in the equal. The second property, subtraction property of equality. Two sides of an equation remain equal when you subtract the same number from each side. If I have the equation a equal b and I subtract the same number from the two sides, from the first side I subtract c, a minus c, and from the second side I subtract also c, b minus c. So I have the same equation, no change in the equation. For example, if you have 9 equal 9, if you subtract from the two sides minus 2, so 9 minus 2 in the first side, is it equal 9 minus 2 in the second side? 9 minus 2 will be 7, and here 9 minus 2 will be 7. So as you see, we have the correct equals. So no change in the equals. The third property, multiplication property of equality. Two sides of an equation remain equal if you multiply each side by the same number. Suppose we have this equation a equal b. If you multiply the two sides by the same number, for example, the first side multiply by c and the second side multiply by c, you have no change in the equal. You have the true equation. For example, if you have 3 equal 3, if you multiply here by 4, and if you multiply here by 4, the same number. 3 times 4 equal 12, and 3 times 4 equal 12. So as you see, we have a true equation, no change in the equal. The last property, division property of equality. Two sides of an equation remain equal when you divide each side by the same non-zero number. Suppose we have this equation a equal b, and we choose number like c, but this number doesn't equal 0. This number can be equal any value, but doesn't equal 0. And I will divide the two sides by this number. A divided by c, is it equal b divided by c? Yes, will be equal. For example, suppose we have 8 equal 8. if you divide the two sides by the same number, if you divide here by 2, and if you divide here by 2, 8 divided by 2 will be 4, and 8 divided by 2 here will be 4. So 4 equal 4. So no change in the equal. This is important properties to know how to use the equality. The second idea, equations. What's the meaning of the equation? An equation is a sentence stating that two quantities are equal. The value of a variable that makes an equation true is called the solution of the equation. The solution of the equation. As you remember, x plus 2 equal 6. This is equation. The solve of this equation, x equal 4. So the equation x plus 2 equals 6 and x equal 4. So here are equivalent equation because they have the same solution. If the two equations have the same solution, means the name of the two equations here equivalent. The name of the two equations will be equivalent. For example, solve one step addition equations. So we have negative 5 equal b plus 8. Always try to keep the variable alone in the same side and remove any constant number from the same side. So we want to remove 8. How to remove 8 from this side? We can subtract the same number from the two sides. We can subtract here minus 8 and we can subtract here minus 8. 8 minus 8 will be 0. And here minus 5 plus minus 8 will be minus 13. And here this side remains b. So the value of b equal minus 13. This is the solution of the equation. This is the solution of the equation. Check your solution. How to know if my work true or false? Go to the same equation. Write the same equation. Then substitute the value of b equal negative 13. If the first side equals the second side, means your solution correct. So is it negative 5? Is it equal negative 13 plus 8? Negative 13 plus 8 will be negative 5. Yes, negative 5 equal negative 5. So the solution of the equation is b equal negative 13. For example, we have this equation, negative 7 equal x plus 4. Negative 7 equal x plus 4. The goal from the equation to know what is the value of the variable, the unknown number. So we want to keep the variable alone in the same side. So we want to remove the number. We want to remove 4. So we can use the property of the equality. We can subtract the same number from the two sides. So we can subtract here minus 4 and we can subtract here minus 4. So negative 7 plus negative 4 will be negative 11 equal 4 minus 4. 4 plus minus 4 will be 0. Remains x. So the value of x equal what? Equal negative 11. What is the name of x equal negative 11? This is the solution of this equation. This is the solution of this equation. How to check? Go back to the same equation. We have in the first side negative 7. Is it equal In the second side, substitute the value of x, negative 11. Is it equal negative 11 plus 4? In this side, we have negative 7. And in the second side, negative 11 plus 4 will be negative 7. So yes, negative 7 equal negative 7. This is the correct equation, means this is the correct solution. Solve one-step subtraction equation. We have this equation, solve x minus 4 equal minus 2. Rewrite the same equation. Try to remove negative 4 to keep the variable alone in the same side. How to remove negative 4? Add the additive inverse. What is the additive inverse of negative 4? Will be plus 4. So add 4 to the two sides. Negative 4 plus 4 will be 0. It remains here x. Negative 2 plus 4 will be 2. So x equal 2. This is the solution of this equation. Then check your solution. Go back to the same equation. Substitute the value of x equal to. So right here 2. Is it 2 minus 4 equal negative 2? 2 minus 4 will be negative 2. Yes, negative 2 equal negative 2 means the solution of the equation is x equal 2. In this example, solve q minus 8 equal minus 9. Q minus 8 equal minus 9. To solve this equation, try to keep the variable alone in this side, in the first side. So we want to remove the number. We want to remove negative 8. How to remove negative 8? Add the additive inverse. What is the additive inverse of negative 8? Plus 8. So you can add 8 to the two sides. Plus 8 here and plus 8 here. Negative 8 plus 8 will be 0, remains here q equal negative 9 plus 8 will be negative 1. So the solution of this equation, q equal negative 1. How to check? Go back to the same equation. Put the value of q, negative 1. Is it negative 1, negative 8? Is it equal negative 9? Negative 1 plus negative 8 will be negative 9. Yes, negative 9 equal negative 9. This is a true equation, means this is true solution. Solve one-step multiplication equation. Solve negative 8y equal 24. Rewrite the same equation, negative 8a plus 24. We want to remove negative 8 to keep the variable alone. What is the operation between negative 8 and y? Multiply. So to remove negative 8, you can divide the two sides by negative 8. So divide the first side by negative 8, divide the second side by negative 8. Negative 8 divided by negative 8 will be 1. Remains y equal 24 divided by negative 8 will be negative 3. So the solution of this equation, y equal negative 3. Check your solution. Go back to the same equation, negative y equal 24. Substitute the value of y, negative 3. Is it negative 8 times negative 3? Is it equal 24? Negative times negative, positive. 8 times 3 will be 24. Yes, 24 equal 24. So this is correct equation, means this is correct solution. So the value of y equal negative 3. In this example, we have negative 6a equal 36. To solve this equation, we want to keep the variable alone in the first side. So we want to remove negative 6. What is the operation between negative 6 and a? Multiplication or multiply. To remove it, you can divide the two sides by the same coefficient, by the same number. So divide here by negative 6 and divide here by negative 6. Negative 6 divided by negative 6 will be 1. 1a means a. Positive divide by negative, negative. 36 divided by 6 will be 6. So the solution of this equation, a equal negative 6. If you want to do check, go back to the same equation. We have negative 6 times the value of a, substitute the value of a, will be negative 6. Is it equal the second side 36? Negative times negative positive. 6 times 6 will be 36. Is it 36 equal 36? Yes. This is true equation, means this is true solution. Now solve one-step division equation. Solve a over negative 4 equal negative 9. Rewrite the same equation, a over negative 4 equal negative 9. So the variable a, we want to keep the variable alone in the first side. So we want to remove negative 4 from the denominator. What is the operation between a and negative 4? Divide. How to remove negative 4? You can multiply by negative 4. You can multiply by negative 4. So multiply the two sides by negative 4. Multiply the two sides by negative 4. A over negative 4 multiplied by negative 4 and negative 9 multiplied by negative 4. And we have negative 4 up and negative 4 down. Means negative 4 divided by negative 4 will be 1. It means A. Negative times negative, positive. 9 times 4 will be 36. So the value of A will be 36. So the solution of this equation, A equals 36. If you want to check your solution, go to the same equation, then substitute the value of A, 36.
That's what got that.
Is it
Yes, Mr. It's clear.
If you want to check your solution, go back to the same equation, then put the value of A, 36. Is it 36 over negative 4? Is it equal negative 9? Positive divide by negative will be negative. 36 divided by 4 will be 9. Is it negative 9 equal negative 9? Yes. This is true equation. Means this is true solution. In this example, solve y over negative 3 equal negative 8. So rewrite the same equation, y over negative 3 equal negative 8. To solve this equation, we want to keep the variable alone in the first side. So we want to remove negative 3 from the denominator. How? You can multiply by the same number here. Multiply here. Multiply by negative 3 and multiply here by negative 3. When you multiply here by negative 3, you have negative 3 up and negative 3 down. So negative 3 divided by negative 3 will be 1. Remains y in the first side. In the second side, we have negative times negative will be positive. 8 times 3 will be 24. So this is the solution of the equation. If you want to check go back to the same equation. We have here y before, and we have here -3. Is it equal -8? Positive divide by negative, negative. 24 divided by 3 will be 8. Is it -8 equal -8? Yes. This is correct equation, means this is true solution. The second idea in this lesson, multiplicative inverse. Multiplicative inverse. Two numbers with a product of 1 are called reciprocals or multiplicative inverses. So the inverse property of multiplication can be used to solve equations involving rational number coefficients. The product of a number and its multiplicative inverses is 1. As you see in this example here, we have the number 7/8. What is the reciprocal of 7/8? Will be 8/7. When you multiply the number by the reciprocal of this number, you will get always 1. This is the meaning of the multiplicative inverse. The multiplicative inverse. And here, -2/3. What is the inverse of -2/3? Will be -2. What is the inverse of -3/2? Will be -2/3. If you multiply the number by the reciprocal of its number, you will get always 1. So this is the meaning of the multiplicative inverse. So the rule here, A/B multiplied by the reciprocal B/A equal 1, where A and B doesn't equal 0. And if we have this fraction 2/5, what is the reciprocal of this fraction? The reciprocal means switch, put denominator numerator and numerator denominator, will be 5/2. So the reciprocal of 2/5 will be 5/2. If you multiply 2/5 by the reciprocal 5/2, as you see, 2 times 5, 10, and 5 times 2, 10. 10/10, 10 divided by 10 will be 1. The name of this property, multiplicative inverse. Solve equations with fractional coefficients. Solve -1 and 7/8 equal 4 and 1/2. If the coefficient is a multiplication equation is a fraction, multiply each side by the reciprocal of the coefficient. So rewrite the same equation, -1 and 7/8 equal 4 and 1/2. Then change the coefficient from mixed number to the fraction. 1 times 8, 8. 8 plus 7 will be 15 over the same denominator. So -15/8x. And here the same idea, 4 times 2, 8. 8 plus 1, 9/2. Always when you have the coefficient fraction, to solve this equation, multiply the two sides by the reciprocal of the coefficient. The coefficient here 15/8. What is the reciprocal? Will be 8/15. So multiply the two sides by -8/15 here and -8/15 here. When you multiply the number by the coefficient, you will get 1. It means here x. And here, negative times positive, negative. 8 times 9, 72, and 15 times 2 will be 30. Then change from fraction to the mixed number. you can use long division to change. 72 divided by 30.
Mister, can I go bathroom?
Okay, you can. So 72 divided by 30 will be 2. 2 times 30, 60. 72 minus 60 will be 12. So you can write the number 2, the whole number, and the remainder 12 over 30. Then you can do simplest form in the fraction. We have 2 up and 30 down. We can divide up by 30 by 3 and divide down by 3. So 12 divided by 3 will be 4. 30 divided by 3 will be 10. Also, you can do simplest form. You can divide by 2, divide by 2. 4 divided by 2 will be 2, and 10 divided by 2 will be 5. And you have negative here, so the answer will be negative 2 and 2 over 5. This is the solution of this equation. In this example, solve negative 7 over 8x equal negative 21 over 64. So rewrite the same equation. We have negative 7 over 8 x equal negative 21 over 64. Always remember, when you have the coefficient fraction, to solve this equation, multiply the two sides by the reciprocal of the coefficient. So what is the reciprocal of 7 over 8? Will be 8 over 7. Here you have negative, so with here negative. So multiply the two sides by the reciprocal. And as you remember, when you multiply the number by the reciprocal of this number, you will get 1. 1x means x equal. Negative times negative, positive. We can do simplest form here. We can multiply numerator by numerator and denominator by denominator, and we can do simplest form. You have here 21 up and 7 down. 7 divided by 7 equal 1, and 21 divided by 7 equal 3. And we can do simple. We have here 8 and here 64. 8 divided by 8 will be 1, and 64 divided by 8 will be 8. So remains up 3 times 1, 3, and down 8 times 1, 8. So the answer will be x equal 3 over 8. This is the solution of this equation. Solve equations with decimal coefficients. As you see here, we have solved 0.25x equal coefficient here decimal. The coefficient here decimal. As with whole numbers, if the coefficient is a multiplication equation, is a decimal, divide each side by the coefficient. So rewrite the same equation, 0.25x equal negative 6. To solve this equation, determine the coefficient here, then divide the two sides by the same coefficient. So 0.25x divided by 0.25 and negative 16 divided by 0.25. 0.25 divided by 0.25 will be 1x means x. And here negative divided by positive will be negative. Then we want to divide 16 by 0.25. We have many methods to do this problem. We can change from decimal to the fraction, or we can remove the point from here As you see here, the point after 2 digits, so we can multiply by 100 up and by 100 down. 16 times 100 will be 1,600, and 0.25 times 100 will be 25. Then you can do long division here, or you can do simplest form. 1,600 means 16 times 100 over 25. You can do simplest form. Divide 25 by 25 will be 1, and divide 100 by 25 will be 4. Then multiply 4 by 16. 4 times 16 will be 64. So the answer here we have here negative, and 16 divided by 0.25 will be 64. So x equal negative 64. This is the solution of this equation. For example, here we have negative 4.7k equal negative 10.81. So determine the coefficient negative 4.7. So divide the two sides by negative 4.7. Negative 4.7 divided by negative 4.7 remains 1k means k. Negative divided by negative positive. So we have here 10.81, and down we have 4.7. We want to remove the point from the denominator. So we can multiply up and down by 10. If you multiply up by 10, the point, remove it one digit to the right. So it will be 108.1. And down we have 47. Then you can do long division between them, you will get 2.3. This is the solution of this equation. Solve equation with rational numbers. As you see in this equation, we have solved negative 1 over 5 equal x minus 3 over 10. Rewrite the same equation. Then we want to remove the fraction from this side to keep the variable alone. We have negative 3 over 10. How to remove negative 3 over 10? You can add the inverse number or the inverse fraction. So we can add 3 over 10. Here we have negative 3 over 10, so we can add the inverse will be positive 3 over 8. So add 3 over 10 to the two sides. So negative 3 over 10 plus 3 over 10 will be 0, remains here x. Then negative 2 plus 3 will be 1 over 10. We have this equation, solve negative 5 over 6 plus m equal negative 2 over 3. We want to remove this fraction to keep the variable alone in the same side. So add the inverse fraction. The inverse fraction will be plus 5 over 6. Add to the two sides. So negative 5 over 6 plus 5 over 6 will be 0, remains here m equal negative 2 over 3 plus 5 over 6. We cannot add directly because here we have different denominators. So try to multiply here by 2 to get the same denominators. So m equal negative 2 times 2, 4, 2 times 3, 6, plus 5 over 6. Negative 4 plus 5 will be negative 1 over 6. So the value will be plus 1 over 6. So the value of m will be 1 over 6. Write one-step equation. So when you want to describe the mathematics of the problem. The highest recorded temperature is 158, greater than the lowest recorded temperature. So we want to change from word to the algebraic expression using the variable. So define the variable to represent the unknown quantity. Let T represent the lowest record temperature. Then you can write the equation. Translate the word into algebraic equation. So we can write 118 equal 158 plus T. T means the lowest record temperature. Then choosing a variable and the quantity for the variable to represent in an equation is called defining a variable. For example, here, Stanley is at a certain depth in the ocean after ascending 5 and 1 over 2 feet. It is now at a depth of negative 14 and 5 over 6 feet. Write and solve an equation to determine the Stanley's initial depth. So at the first, we want to write the equation. The initial depth plus 5 and 1 over 2 feet equals negative 14 and 5 over 6 feet. So change here from word to the sign and represent the variable d depth. d plus 5 and 1 over 2 equal negative 14, 5, and 6. Then we can solve this equation. Remove the number here. You can add the inverse number to the two sides. So negative 5 and the 3 over 6 here, and negative 5 and the 3 over 6 here. Here will be 0, remains d. And you can do here addition. You will get negative 19 and 8 over 6. And you can do simplest form here, divide by 2, divide by 2 up and divide by 2 down. And you will get here negative 20 and 1 over 3. And here the same idea. So this is our lesson for today. Who has any question about this lesson? Are all ideas clear for all boys?
Yes, Mr.
No questions?
No.
Okay.
No question.
So this is our period for today. Thank you for your listening. Have a nice day. Have a nice weekend. See you inshallah on next Monday. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.